Well, anyway, well, movie podcast. That's right, movie podcast special live edition.
I mean, technically, it's no more live than any other episode.
That's right, but we're all here, so except Sean, who's not. So I guess
So we're not all here. It's not live.
two lies almost immediately. Two demonstrable untruths.
We have dogs here too.
Also true.
Yeah.
And
all kinds of craziness.
And it's a grab bag week, and in honor of Jim Brown dying, we watched Mars Attacks.
Yep. Which is one of the movies of all time.
Which is a movie. And he is dressed up like a pharaoh man, and that's about the extent of his part of the movie.
A pharaoh man.
That's correct.
I said feral man. I was like, what?
Not a pharaoh man. Come on now. Anyway.
Yeah. So we watched that, and I like I said to you guys analog before we started, I worry that there's not a lot to talk about in this movie.
There isn't.
I feel like, I mean, we'll get into it. Obviously.
I don't worry because that means I can go to bed earlier.
Yeah,
it's all bits. Like it's just
right. It is what it's supposed to be, but it's also like there's not a lot there. Anyway, we'll get into it. So like we usually do, what did you watch this week? We're gonna start without.
I watched one thing.
Watched
the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weak year for movies, is it not? Like all my new releases have not been great.
You haven't seen Guardians yet.
I haven't seen Guardians.
Really good. I feel like there's other stuff this year that came out that was good, but I continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie it's fine. Like, it's not offensive. It's not that long. It's,
Who else is in it besides Chris Pine?
Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant.
I legit thought she died.
Really the only people of note.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Why would you think she died?
I did. I
She got in, like, trouble. She lost some jobs from, drunk driving several times.
Oh, Jesus.
And she also thinks that there's too many Marvel movies.
I did see that, which is like
from the woman who's in the Fast and Furious series.
Furious movies, yeah.
But no, the Dungeons and Dragons movie, it's fine. It's like it's not offensive. If you like D&D, or play D&D, you probably would enjoy it more than I did because I don't. Like, I understand like the archetypes and stuff like that, but
did they like lean into it really heavy?
I guess.
Oh.
But there's lots of references I didn't understand and jokes I didn't understand.
Did anyone say roll for initiative?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, they didn't go that far. I do want to see it still.
I would imagine that your mileage would probably be greater.
All my D&D friends liked it a lot.
Playing D&D than my mileage did not. But I wasn't mad that I watched it.
Right.
Like, it was fine. What I should have done is watched Mars Attacks last night, because I was done D&D last night while I was really high. I should have watched Mars Attacks while I was really high.
Mars Attacks while high would have been much better, yeah.
Turmoil.
Do whatever. It's fine out here.
I don't want to chew anything.
Yeah.
Like I said, we got dogs.
Yeah.
Thing is, we want dogs.
I got a lot of dogs in the fire.
I got beat.
That's all I watched, though. If you like D&D, you'll probably like the movie. If you don't like D&D, your mileage may vary.
I feel like it's one of those, like, I'll get around to watching it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I really like Chris Pine, too.
Yeah,
Chris Pine's just a good actor. I saw a TikTok that said we should replace Chris Pratt and everything with Chris Pine now. Because they basically have the same, like,
Chris Pratt now.
They have the same, like, kind of style as far as...
Same charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
I don't know, Chris Pine is not quite as handsome as Chris Pratt, but he can pull off the same type of roles.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. Or I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Chris Pine, though, in most things that he does. He's a fun actor.
He's good. I like him.
He's a good Captain Kirk.
Gogs.
Let's see. I watched 3 things, including Men at Work, because I missed last week's show.
Right.
Oof.
Yeah.
That movie's boring as piss.
3 things, including Men at Work?
3 things, including Men at Work.
2 other things.
So 2 additional things. But real quick, Men at Work's not good. I don't know what I was expecting, but Emilio Estevez is not a good writer nor director.
Yeah.
And when you put him up against his brother, who is a superior actor, all of his flaws come through pretty bad. That movie is not great. What'd you guys give it?
I think I gave it a 6.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 5.
Yeah, I think it was a 4. So it's just real middle of the road and trash.
Sean gave it a 12.
Wow.
He just like movies with men in the title.
Yeah, if it's got men and it's got
Work.
yeah, Emilio Estevez. Well, I mean, wasn't Repo Man also Emilio Estevez? Or is that Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, no, that's Emilio Estevez.
That's his favorite movie of all time. I watched the Mario Brothers Super Mario movie.
The new one?
Yeah, the new one. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Not tremendous, but good. A lot of fun. Loved Bowser in it.
Yeah. It's a fun movie for babies.
Yeah, it's a perfectly good kids film.
Yeah.
Like I could see maybe where like people our age who want like a hardcore like give me everything I love, make it for adults thing would not enjoy it, but like watching it with my kids was a lot of fun.
But
They
it is
really
for
enjoy.
kids too.
Right, it's an illumination
That's the
movie.
thing I think like people our age need, like, I mean, we lose sight of it during so many things, but like, you know, when Mario came into existence, we were kids.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have 2 young kids and they love Mario. It's like,
it's 40 years of like
not everything needs to be for 40-year-olds.
no.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's a
They're making a Barbie movie for 40-year-old men now.
Yeah,
that movie
thank
looks
God.
Awesome. Did you see the new trailer where she's dancing and she's like, "Hey, do you guys ever think about dying?"
No, that sounds amazing.
Like, I can't wait for that movie.
Oh,
How many groups are going to be pissed that it's not for kids?
Probably a bunch. I don't know. You know, nowadays somebody's mad about everything.
I mean, but conceptually, Barbie as a toy for girls was very toxic and problematic and shouldn't have been for kids in the first place.
That's what I'm sure the movie.
That's what they're going for.
Some of that, yeah.
The other thing I watched is I watched Hot Rod recently. That movie rules. Everything Alex said like 2 weeks ago still holds. The movie's a ton of fun, and Jorma Tacone is hilarious in it.
Oh yeah, he almost steals the movie.
Oh, I watched. It wasn't a movie, but I watched the
Not a movie.
not a movie. John Mulaney stand up, Baby J.
Oh yeah, how's that?
It's pretty good. I liked it. It was very funny. It's all about him. I didn't realize what he had just gone through.
What did he go through?
Like big intervention rehab. Like he was like coked out of his mind, and
Really?
he's now clean. But like he was like basically the entire stand up was about like his addiction and getting over it and getting through it. I didn't even know he had any of that
I didn't know that. Either.
sort of situation. And I'm halfway through Enemy, Dennis Villeneuve's Enemy.
That's a tough one. I'm interested to see what you think about that one.
Yeah, I
What is that?
haven't gotten to the twist yet.
That's kind of an impenetrable movie. Like I had to watch it like 3 times, and I still don't quite understand the whole thing.
I mean, so far I'm into it, but I'm like, it is.
Oh, just wait.
I'm waiting to not be confused, and maybe that sounds like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, you're not.
All right, well, that's
It's
exciting.
a cool movie, but like out of all his stuff, like it's very, like that's his most like artsy fartsy.
It's also his
movie.
first one, right?
No, he made that's like his 4th or 5th.
Oh,
Yeah,
was it? But like before Sicario, before Arrival, though, right?
yeah. He made stuff overseas before he made stuff in America.
Oh,
He made a
interesting.
movie called like Incendiaries or something that I've been meaning to watch.
Did he just put it on the Plex?
Yeah,
Yes, I think I've seen the
yeah.
card.
But that was before that, and there was a couple others. He did like some short films. He did I haven't watched it. I want to say it's on like Tubi or something, but it's only like an hour long. But he did like it's a movie about the Virginia Tech shooter. It's supposed to be really good. But I mean, he's amazing. So I'm excited to hear your thoughts on Enemy.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap that up, and I want to watch that Dungeons and Dragons movie at some point soon. But that's everything I watched. TJ.
I didn't watch anything, but I'm going to take a second to, when you get done Enemy, watch another movie that came out right around the same time with a similar premise called The Double with Jesse Eisenberg. It's really good.
Who made that?
I don't remember, but it's like very like Kafka-esque. It's cool. I remember liking The Double more than Enemy, but Enemy grew on me over the years.
Cause I thought I heard you or Sean like just saying Enemy was trash, and I couldn't.
I never
remember.
thought it was trash. I just didn't really understand the point of it, to be perfectly honest. Like the movie, the movie took me a while to get, and I still like kind of don't understand. But I watched this essay on it, and they're like proposed this theory, and it's like it makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, well, I'll say right now, my theory is some sort of Tyler Durden situation, but that's probably not.
I mean, that's kind of this on the lines of what the theory is about. Basically, the theory is that like the movie is a movie within a movie, and he's an actor. Like it's a whole thing. I'll send it to you.
Oh, that's quite the onion.
But yeah, I didn't watch anything. I had fucking worked all weekend. I was busy doing con shit, and then when you get home from those things, you just want to go to bed. I had all intentions of watching something. I just got home and I was just too tired. So yeah, I didn't watch anything. A rarity for me, but yeah, no movies.
Pulling a Sean.
I know. Well, he's not here.
I'm sure it's a basketball playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I have been watching a lot of baseball, which does eat into movie time. But now baseball games are nice bite-sized, quick events. It's not as bad as it used to be most games. Anyway, yeah. So let's get into Mars Attacks. Guys, before we get into the synopsis, how familiar are both of you with the source material for this?
Not at all.
It was what do they call them back then?
Pulp?
Yeah, like a pulp novel.
Well,
wasn't it back in like
it possibly, but the thing that got popular was it was a trading card series.
That's right, because it was by the Topps Company.
Yeah, trading cards. And each trading card, like if you look up the art for the old cards, the art's amazing. But like it's literally just Martians slaughtering humans in like the most violent ways possible.
Didn't Topps also do Garbage Pail Kids?
Yes.
Okay.
And they had, I don't really think they had like a plot. Like I don't think they had any kind of connecting canon or anything. But that's what this came from cards, like trading cards.
That's weird. When did those cards came out? Were they from the 50s or something?
It's like the 60s, I think, early 60s.
Okay.
But that's where this comes from, like, which I still think is weird. Like, it's weird, you know what I mean? They got this whole, because I mean, comics came up afterwards for Mars Attacks after the movie, and like, obviously, the image of the Martians, like from the Tim Burton version, are a little bit more, I would say, softened than what they look like on the original artwork.
The original artwork, they're kind of
they look gnarly.
Yeah.
They got like skull faces.
They're kind of metal.
Yeah, the original art is really good, but like if you look at the cards and stuff, it's like incredibly gruesome. The stuff that they're doing to people, but that's that's what's.
Well, I was reading about the movie about why the skeletons would show up as different colors.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently in the original drafts and even some of the original footage of the movie, the different guns would kill people in different ways. Like some would incinerate them like that. Some would like blow off parts of their body.
That makes
it was
sense.
like a really bloody, like Saving Private Ryan-esque.
Oh,
like body parts getting blown off and bleeding out and stuff.
That's more in line.
But then to get it lined up for like rating wise,
right,
they changed it to everybody gets skeletons. And then, but Tim Burton liked the colors so much. He was like, I like the red and green and the
it's kind
super
of
bright colors. So he just kept the red and green.
I think the movie's PG-13? It's not R.
It's gotta be PG-13. There's like nothing. I mean, there's nothing bad in it,
Yeah. Well, anyway, so in the movie opens with one farmer asking his Filipino neighbor if he's having a Filipino barbecue. Oh no, he asked him if it's Filipino New Year.
Yeah.
Because he must be barbecuing, which we can unpack that all day. Or we just stand there and wait for an entire herd of cattle to come running by on fire.
Yeah.
And then I guess a Martian reporting back to Mars that says, yeah, they got cattle. And then then the Martians come. Then they all launch from the red planet.
The funny thing about, one of the funny things about this movie is you never see them launch. They're like, when they cut to outer space, literally just hundreds of ships just circling the Earth.
Well, didn't like portals open up in Mars and they were erupting out of them?
They show them
and stuff?
like lift off like out of the planet kind of.
I must have missed
It's a very quick,
Yeah.
like 2-second scene.
Yeah, but it's like traditional classic flying saucers flying from just encircling the Earth, and NASA finds it, and they have a meeting in the Oval Office between two generals, like you got Dr. Strangelove general, you've got Pierce Brosnan just smoking a pipe. You got Martin Short, who's the press secretary, who I love in this movie.
For a kids movie, like his dominant feature is that he just gets hookers.
He gets hookers on the reg,
Yeah,
and almost gets the president assassinated.
it's crazy that that's like a subplot in a children's movie.
Yeah. So
I mean, this is, I guess, a little bit like you just said, a little bit more young adults because it is cartoonishly violent, but it is pretty
but
violent.
it's also the Attitude Era of movies. Like it was
Right.
edgier.
Lots of people get killed in this movie.
Oh my god, and lots of like named people, like lots of stars in this movie. It's
Yeah.
Game of Thrones adjacent in that regard. So anyway,
That's like the first time anyone's ever made that comparison.
You know what I think of when I think of Mars Attacks? Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
so they find out about it, and President Joker is like,
It's a Joker.
we should just tell everybody it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna invite them.
That's your Nicholson?
That's my Nicholson. It's not good. And so they figure out that their planet's encircled. There's one general who I love, and I think he's from a bunch of other movies, but I forget one of the movies.
Yeah.
Fucking
Gung ho crazy general.
yeah. He's just like, we should nuke him now, and they're like, no, we're gonna be. And then there's the other generals like, yeah, I want to be a PR guy. Like, and so they find out where they're gonna land in the middle of the desert, and they for some reason let the public come, and
Right.
then they also encircle the place in tanks and Hueys, and some guy invented a translator that records them and plays them back on a reel to reel and allows you to communicate with back
Yeah, I
or
like
whatever.
that it didn't translate in real time.
Right.
No.
You had to record it and feed the recording back through.
I mean, I love that kind of stuff. It's
I-
very clunky 50s sci-fi. Like, that's what they're going, you know what I mean?
Like, I didn't love this movie,
Yeah.
but this upcoming scene
Oh, it's
where the
best.
aliens are killing everybody and they're going, I come in peace.
Yeah.
I come in peace.
I'm your
That's
friend.
Don't run. Don't
As they're
run.
zapping everybody. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, but so and Jack Black, a very trim, very young Jack
Yeah.
Black,
Almost beefy.
signed up for like the Arizona State Militia or whatever, and got deployed to make first contact. The aliens come out with their delegate and their little cadre of space marines, and then they say they come in peace, and then some hippie releases a dove, and I don't know if. Is there a bird thing in the movie? Because later they're looking at the presidential crest with the bird on it,
Yeah, sure.
and they're doing this and like getting freaked out. But
Also,
anyway,
this bird looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
This CGI bird is the worst looking CGI bird you'll ever see.
yeah. So the bird. So they roast the bird, then they roast everybody. They just annihilate the whole place. Meanwhile, Annette Bening is up in the hills watching all this, like
It's like
praying to a crystal.
She's like a new age, like hippie kind
Because she's married to Jack Nicholson's other character in the movie,
yeah.
who is like a space-themed casino like magnate
He's, like,
or
he's
something.
in the process of building his casino that looks like the Space Needle, basically,
Yeah.
with a spaceship on top.
Like his whole arc, I'm gonna lose parts of it. He eventually gets hoisted his own petard and crushed by his own building. But like, why you had Jack Nicholson twice?
It was weird.
It's kind of a kooky choice for Tim Burton.
And, I don't know when the last time I saw this movie was. I remember him being in several roles, not just two. I remember him being in much more. Because I want to say in the trailer, it's like, and Jack Nicholson.
Right.
And Jack
Oh, they were doing like an Eddie Murphy
Do you
thing.
think that
Yeah.
that's this is his homage to Doctor Strangelove?
That's my guess, right? Because Peter Sellers plays multiple
three
characters.
in that movie. So.
Well, the whole thing feels like Doctor Strangelove, and
Right.
it feels like all your old 50s tropey sci-fi stuff. So anyway, the Martians attack. Surprise.
And do that.
Yeah, they annihilate everything.
But then Pierce Brosnan's ass is like, yo, maybe that was just a mistake. And then Sarah Jessica Parker's like, oh, I'm so wet for you. And Michael J. Fox is like,
the best
yeah.
looking Sarah Jessica Parker has ever looked. Hot take.
No.
No.
Incorrect.
What's the correct answer?
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I'm with them on that one.
I can see your point.
Yeah. I even said Hocus Pocus 2. She looked pretty all right. But regular Hocus Pocus,
Hocus Pocus 2 is like this year, wasn't it?
last year. Like a fine
I'm
wine.
gonna go ahead and guess you're wrong on that one.
Well, fair enough. Anywho, Pierce Brosnan convinced everybody, oh no, they didn't mean it, and they meant it, and then they killed everybody, and they continued to attack.
And then they Pierce Brosnan, they like cut his head off.
They cut him to pieces, like his head's dangling, his chest is over here, and they removed his heart out of his chest and wired it back. He's got like an arm over here. They took Sarah Jessica Parker and they like rewired her to her dog's body, and the dog to the Sarah Jessica Parker body, the dog's head.
Yeah.
And then they made like a bimbo bot,
played by at the time Tim Burton's wife Lisa Marie.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yeah.
So then the Martians like go to see Hooker Steve, and he leads them right into the White House because I guess he lives there.
So this is like again, like I have a lot of problems with this movie, but like when Martin Short hires the alien hooker, the way the alien hooker like walks
sachets
and like she just kind of does this like little like hula dance almost wherever she goes. It's great.
Yeah, that's all they know. And then Glenn Close is in this movie. She gets smashed by a chandelier.
Glenn Close is the first lady.
She's the first lady, and Queen Amidala, she's the first kid.
Yeah, Natalie Portman, secret Natalie Portman performance.
Yeah, her name is Taffy. Taffy President.
Taffy. But yeah, there's a lot of people that we didn't even mention Jim Brown, have we?
Oh yeah, Jim Brown.
The whole reason we watched the movie.
Jim Brown is in a long distance relationship with Pam Grier, and he is a pharaoh, and she is a single mom from DC.
Also, one of their kids is somebody like famous. Like I recognize his face. I couldn't figure out. Like one of their kids like grew up to be a bigger actor.
Oh really?
I can't think of his name.
And their kids the whole time are playing a video game called like Kill All Zombies or Kill All Martians or something.
That game is graphic. Like when you're looking at that, like the Martians were like eating that dude alive. And you like see his skull and his brains and such. But anyway, those kids eventually get a Martian gun and they start doing work. And and then Jack. So anyway, everyone gets annihilated. Jack Black gets killed on TV in front of his parents. They don't believe it, but that's fine. His brother's donut shop gets exploded. They defend their trailer. The whole world's under duress. This continues for 90 or so minutes. At some point, Jack Nicholson is finally convinced to use nuclear weapons. They shoot a nuke into space at the Armada, and then through a comical balloon capture system, they turn it into a vape and they smoke the nuclear cloud.
The one kid is a Ray J.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I recognize.
So
I've seen his penis.
Well, yeah.
Cool.
Not then.
Not then.
Jack Black's girlfriend was Christina Applegate.
That's right. She's like barely in it.
You can barely even see her face.
That's who that was?
Yeah, it's an insane cast. So eventually there's this grandma that everyone hates. And
except
she's
for the main character.
Except for, I guess he's the main character, isn't he?
Yeah, sort of. It's an all home.
So it's all. So it was like, so Martin Short gets killed, Jack Black gets killed, Michael J. Fox gets killed.
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan and Sarah Jessica Parker get taken apart.
Yeah, they get vivisected.
Glenn Close gets killed. Jack Nicholson gets killed twice.
Yeah.
Jim Brown punches his way through this bitch and lives.
Die.
They think he's gonna die. He don't die. Danny DeVito's in this thing.
He doesn't.
Jim Brown punches his way from Vegas to DC in his.
Because he gets piled on in Vegas, right?
His Pharaoh sandals.
Yeah.
And then he stomps on an alien's head as he gets back to his house.
Wait, did DeVito not die?
I don't think he died. Wasn't he in that plane with?
No, he got zapped. No, he split off. He was trying to.
Because he was like, "You guys are crazy," and
That's
like
right.
the the neon board junkyard.
That's right. Tom Jones, you forgot to mention.
Oh, Tom Jones, and he's survived. He knows how to fly a plane, I guess.
Tom Jones and his massive wiener.
It's Tom and his Jones.
Put Elvira in the hospital.
Not on. So all those people die except Jim Brown. And then this kid who's not famous. The kid who's not famous visits the grandma everyone hates, and she's listening to like doo-wop records that make the aliens' heads explode.
There's no way that music that kills them is doo-wop music. It's like that yodeling. It's like the Appalachian.
It's like human theremin sound.
Bluegrass music or something.
So they found a music that the aliens absolutely hate. It just makes all their brains explode.
Makes their heads explode.
And then somehow, in scenes that are not shown to us or explained, the the army finds out about this and
Yeah.
broadcasts the sound into space.
They have like
They smash cut to that,
they have specially equipped ATVs with like speakers on the side.
which is, kind of horrific conceptually. They're just mopping up. And then on the ruins of the White House, Taffy president, who I guess is now the president of the United States.
Yeah, I don't know.
By default. Oh, yeah, all of Congress
Oh,
gets annihilated. The speaker, the Martian ambassador says, "Let me talk to Congress," and they assemble everybody in the room, and they just get wiped out.
Which is great.
Which is based.
Yeah, which is really good.
And then
Yeah, I guess-
after that, the president gives a speech was like, "We'll tell the people we still got two legislative branches. 2 out of 3 ain't bad,
it's
or 2 executive branches."
if you have two branches of government left, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And so after the kid makes all the heads explode, he gets the Medal of Freedom, and I guess
That's the movie.
that's the movie.
Yeah.
It's quippy, I guess. I didn't laugh much. The special effects are not great.
The special effects do not hold up like at all. Like I think it's the biggest problem with the movie. Like, I mean, we've watched a lot of movies with bad special effects, but we don't watch a ton of stuff with like from this period with that awful CGI where it's like they were pushing it really hard, but
this was also like when you had Jurassic Park, right? Like you had good CGI.
Jurassic Park's always the outlier, right? Like we always talk about that. Like Jurassic Park came out way early and it was more impressive than it's like Terminator 2, right?
Right. It's
Special
still
effects wise.
Jurassic Park's still impressive to this day.
But like this movie, like I couldn't help but think like in like an alternative universe, I want the Tim Burton movie where all the aliens are practical. You know what I mean? Like how much better would this have
Oh
looked?
my God.
Like if the aesthetic of this movie is going for like a 50s sci-fi
Like a
thing,
fucking rubber looking, it could look terrible.
make them look like do like the Ed Wood thing and make them look like they did in the 50s.
That's what I'm saying.
Wouldn't that have been cool? Like
Yeah.
I think that would have been a lot more fun. But again, this is one of those times where everybody was pushing the CGI, you know what I mean? Like real hard.
Was he right off of Scissorhands when this came off? Like what was he trading on to get like the people he got in this movie?
Batman.
What was that it?
I think Batman
I don't know if it was right
Returns.
before this, but the thing I was just reading said Nicholson signed on without reading the script just to work with Tim Burton again because of Batman.
Wow.
I will say that I thought Nicholson was like one of the better parts.
Oh,
of the
he was
movie.
great in
It was
it.
a lot of fun as like a goofball.
Oh, yeah, this was damn what a run.
What are you talking about?
Beetlejuice, Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, Ed Wood,
Oh, Ed Wood.
then a Visit with Vincent, which I've never heard of, then this,
I think
then Mars Attacks,
Vincent-
Planet of the Apes. He gets into his bad era.
Oh,
So
God.
here's the thing, like he made Ed Wood, so why wouldn't he just
Right. I mean, that honestly, Ed Wood is the reason why you'd be like, oh, he'd be good for this kind of movie.
right?
And I mean, he was, to be fair. Like, I do think, like, this is before Tim Burton became, like everything had to be too Tim Burton-y. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this movie.
This wasn't Sweeney Todd Burton.
No, and, like, I don't know. There's problems with this movie, but, like, I don't know. His direction, I didn't really think it's one of them.
Well, he didn't do Sweeney Todd, did he?
He did do Sweeney Todd.
Oh, he directed it. I'm looking at his production. He produces a lot of stuff too.
Yeah,
Wow,
well, you make the most money that way.
that makes sense.
But what else? I mean, like, it's kind of funny. It's like, there's parts that are kind of funny. Like, when they shoot down the Washington Monument and there's, like, Boy Scouts running
And they're
away,
tipping it to
and they
hit
have
the boys.
to tip
Yeah,
it to make sure to kill the Boy Scout. I mean, that's kind of funny.
yeah.
Like you said, the Nicholson, when he's like, there's 2 out of 3 branches, like, there's some funny lines. And when he's the weird Las Vegas casino owner pimp, like,
Yeah,
that was kind of funny.
but it's. Yeah, I mean, like
I'm gonna knock you
when I
out.
was talking to Liz about this. Like the movie is exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's just not what I want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a weird, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's a weird thing to base a movie around to begin with.
Yeah, playing card, not even playing cards. Just like we're collecting cards.
Weird collectible cards. They used to do this all the time back then. Like cards that kind of loosely told a story, but not really more of a theme. But, Alec, what did you like the most about the film?
Jim Brown.
Yeah, we still
Rest in peace,
Jim Brown is basically like a George Foreman-esque boxer. He's working in a casino, greeting people, dressed as a pharaoh. But people always talk about his. Keep coming up and talking about his fights that have these ridiculous names.
Yeah.
It was like the Haymaker in Jamaica or something like that. And there was another one.
I was thinking of the Slam and Salmon with Fracas and Caracas.
The dispute in Beirut.
He goes and asks his boss for more money. And his boss is like, I could get Marvin Hagler or Leon Spinks in here for half what I'm paying you.
Yeah. They had to.
Which shows the time period is early 90s, even though half of the technology is modern at that point and half of it is like
1950s.
Yeah. But this movie's not great.
No.
Yeah. It's just kind of there.
Kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Because it should be a fun, campy movie, but it's just not fun.
I remember liking it a lot more than I did going through this. Also, like, the Jim Brown kid subplot, like, is kind of tacked on. It's like, I can't find my kids, and then they're good at this video game.
And then she finds him, like, immediately.
Yeah.
And the kids, like, there's no, they don't hate him or anything.
No.
Like,
are they divorced? Or they just...
No, I think he was out in Vegas because that's where he could make his money.
I thought someone had said they were divorced, but they were very affectionate to each other.
No, I think he says it in the movie that he's got to send his stuff back. Like, I just don't think he was out there for work. They don't really elaborate on it, though.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, let's get into Five Knuckle Shuffles, I guess.
Yeah, the shortest episode of all time. Sorry, Anthony, or you're welcome, I guess.
He wants the show to be 5 minutes long.
Based.
I called Anthony when I was trying to get rid of the Orioles tickets for opening day.
Yeah.
I left him a voicemail and he called me back about it. No, he called me back about the tickets, and he said no. We talked for like a minute about that, and then he talked to me for like 5 to 10 more minutes about because he just listened to the Old Guard episode or the Old Guard. And he was listening to my thoughts about the Old Guard and talking about that with me. He's like, "Yeah, listen to the show. Here's what I think, and here's what you think you should think."
Yes. Take that.
All right. Five Knuckle Shuffles. Guys.
4. It's like, it's 4 or 5. Maybe it's a 5. It's just not good. Like, maybe.
Yeah, it's not forgettable, though.
It's no, right.
You're going to remember these.
But I don't hate it. I just don't, it's like I said, it's doing exactly what it wants to do. It's just what it wants to do is not what I want. So, like, there you have it. Like, if this is what you desire, I'm sure it's a great representation of it. But it's just like, no, and there's nothing, I didn't laugh, I don't think, the entire time. It's, the CGI looks terrible. It's fun just to see this, like, insane cast of characters, I guess, or, like, cast of actors.
It's pretty impressive.
The roster is nuts.
Like, very impressive.
But, like, the movie's not great. And it's, like, intentionally not great, but it's intentionally not great enough.
It's trying to be a B movie, but it's not. It doesn't commit enough.
Right. Yeah. So it's just it's like that Baywatch movie that was like supposed to be a comedy, but it just didn't go all the way. Like if it had just committed. You like the Baywatch movie?
I thought it was pretty funny.
I did not care. I didn't think it was funny enough. It needed to be funnier or more seriouser, and it was neither. But that's it.
Definitely not more serious, sir.
It was so, but that's Mars Attacks a 4. Alec.
I'm also going to give it a 4. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Like, this is not what I remember, and not what I was expecting.
I think
really.
I saw this in the theaters actually back in the day. Did I see it with you?
I definitely saw it in the theater.
No, I don't think I did. But man, this seems like a layup.
Yeah, it really does.
It seems like a layup, especially for that era Tim Burton to make a really fun madcap Martian movie where it's like unhinged, but just doesn't hit the mark.
Mm-mm.
It's kind of a waste, actually.
Yeah,
waste of film. And nobody's particularly like good in it.
Nicholson's fine.
Like he's fine.
He's over the top.
Yeah, I just this didn't do it for me. TJ.
I'm gonna stay in line with the group. I'm also gonna give it a 4. It's just really, it's not memorable, and like I said before, if you the CGI is impossible. It's impossibly bad to overlook. Like it really is.
But they also spend a ton of time on those little dangly things on their necks, making sure they jiggle right, like, which is weird and gross.
A lot of that is the period it's in, but you also, like, as a director, I feel like you should be like, well, this looks bad, we should do something else. And if these aliens were puppets and shit, it'd have been so much
If it was
cooler.
puppets, that'd be amazing.
It would be so much better. It would have looked so much better. And also, look, there are some, like, funny moments overall, but it's just kind of there. Like, I don't know, like...
It ends as abruptly as it starts, and yet the middle still happens.
Well, it basically has... I mean, they had, like, what kind of story are you
It's like one act.
It's like,
And it's too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an hour 49.
I think I was just reading on IMDb, like an early version of the script. This has like 23 main characters.
Oh my god.
It's like
And,
War
like,
and Peace.
An early version of the script has like 60.
That's...
Where like literally like has at least like lines or some kind of
like
story
plot.
for like 60 different people.
I
Like,
can't imagine.
get out of here.
Yeah, this is already too long. It should be a tight 90, and be done.
Right.
But yeah, that's Mars Attacks.
What'd Sean give it? Did Sean give us a score?
He didn't give
He
me
said
a
he'd
score.
send a score.
I'll stitch it in if he sends it before I upload this. So what's next month again?
June Bernthal.
June Bernthal, all John Bernthal movies. Gogs, I believe you had a pick, right?
I had a pick that got disqualified because unless we want to watch Sicario, which I think is too good a movie.
We don't have the two good rule.
Oh, well, actually, no, I did have a pick. It's
The only rule
called.
we have is you can't pick the we already watched. Or they can't pick the accountant. Which
God damn it.
Really good.
I've never seen that.
Technically that was a lost episode.
I know I've also, and I've
but
never seen it.
You found it.
Yeah, I did find it.
Well, that's too bad. I'm picking. Where'd you go? Pilgrimage, 2017's Pilgrimage. He's cast as the mute, so he might not have a speaking part.
Oh no! All right, The Pilgrimage. Never heard of it.
Fantastic.
But he's one of the three names at the top of the poster: Tom Holland, Richard Armitage, John Bernthal.
Richard Armitage sounds very.
I looked him up. He doesn't do a lot.
He's
I looked
also
him up. He's in all the Hobbit movies.
Armitage is also the villain in one of
Wintermute,
the villains in a fucking, I almost called it Snow Crash, Neuromancer.
Yep.
All right, that's the show, everybody. You know the drill. Eat your own ass.
Yep.
Keep it 100. Bye.